Ever wondered why aircraft do not crisscross or actually crash? Well, in studio today, like I told you, the breakfast meeting is packed to capacity. I'll be hosting the technical people that actually are in charge of air traffic controlling, as today we mark the Air Traffic Controllers Day. And this day is going to be celebrated this very day. Well, in studio today is Mr. Paul Kalemba, the Senior Air Traffic Management Officer, Uganda Civil Aviation Authority, and the former President of UGATCA. He'll be here in studio with me, and on my immediate left-hand side is Mpugu Luja, the Manager Public Affairs, Uganda Civil Aviation Authority. Welcome to the studio and a very good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you too. Well, I'll start with you, Mr. Vianney Mpugu Luja. Let's start with you telling us, what is Uganda Air Traffic Controllers Association and how does it relate with the Uganda Civil Aviation Authority?
Thank you very much. The Uganda Air Traffic Controllers Association is comprised of members of staff who work with Uganda Civil Aviation Authority, but are specifically air traffic controllers. So they formed an association that brings them together. It is one of several professional associations within Uganda CAA, and which helps members to air their views, to benchmark with best practices with other similar bodies across the world. They are affiliated to the International Federation of Air Traffic Controllers, which is the global body that oversees air traffic controllers operations. But they are members of staff of Uganda Civil Aviation Authority first. And of course, as members of staff of Uganda Civil Aviation Authority, they have a mandate, which is part of the CAA mandate. First, I need to put in perspective that Uganda CAA has a mandate which mainly focuses on safety and security. And the role of air traffic controllers hinges a lot on safety, because what they do helps enhance safety in the Uganda's airspace.
Absolutely. I'll go to Mr. Paul Kalemba to explain to us, what is air traffic control? And I must admit that you're doing a tremendous job outside there to make sure that the aircraft do not crisscross or actually crash. What goes on behind the scenes?
Well, thank you very much. Air traffic control is quite a unique and very important part of Civil Aviation Authority, just like it says. It's a component of the organization that deals with security and safety of aircraft. To put it in the layman's language, an air traffic controller is the pilot on ground that flies so many aircraft in the air. An air traffic controller in his seat on his typical working day will make sure no one crashes, no one uses the wrong route, and no one takes long to land and get home. So basically, that's what the air traffic controller does.
So what happens? Do you stand and wave a flag, or?
I expected a question like that from you. But air traffic controllers do not stand, do not wave flags. Air traffic controllers have what we call a control room. A control room has a set of radios, screens, just like we have in the studio here. And that's their medium of communication between them and the pilots in the air. So an air traffic controller on ground will issue a clearance to an aircraft or an instruction to either turn left, turn right, depart, descend, or do anything, depending on what he has foreseen happening in the next few minutes. So basically, he will use voice with the pilot. They basically don't even meet, they don't see each other. It is voice, voice, voice all the way through until someone is on ground.
How does one become an air controller?
It takes quite a huge investment for one to become an air traffic controller. CAA has felt the pinch. On average, in period-wise, for someone to become an air traffic controller from school, from university, you will need approximately 4 years.
4 years.
To become a fully fledged air traffic controller. And in investment terms, you need over $200,000 to become an air traffic controller. And all these trainings happen not in Uganda, but abroad. That's why it's quite expensive to make an air traffic controller. So this big component of the safety culture of the aviation takes a very huge investment in terms of money and time.
Okay, I'll switch to Mr. Vianney. Of what importance is air traffic control to the Uganda Civil Aviation Authority? To you, if you draw light on that.
It is extremely important. The mandate of CAA, first of all, involves advice to government on air transport matters. Secondly, we own and operate aerodromes, including Entebbe International Airport and others, 13, spread across the country. Thirdly, we provide air navigation services, and this is specifically the area where air traffic control falls. They provide air navigation services, and in doing this, they communicate to pilots. They actually help pilots in complementing their situational awareness while they are up there in the air. They guide them in relation to other aircraft in the air. They guide them in relation to terrain. They guide them about bad weather, among others. So this is a very key safety component that safeguards lives of people. So the role of the air traffic control is extremely important to the aviation sector, and that is why the global body deemed it prudent that the Air Traffic Controllers Day is at least celebrated once a year, and that is on 20th October of every year. Although for Uganda's case in particular this year, we have chosen to celebrate this day today on 18th because 20th will be a Sunday, and various activities have been lined up to celebrate this day in Kampala. As we speak now, there is a procession led by air traffic controllers. There is the Uganda People's Defense Air Force Band and other stakeholders who have marched from Uganda House to Old Kampala Secondary School, where the controllers are going to converge and engage in a number of activities, including career guidance for the students at Old Kampala SS, to help them know the kind of subjects that they need to undertake if in the future they want to become air traffic controllers. So there is that career guidance session. The controllers are also painting a basketball court at the school as a corporate social responsibility activity. In addition to that, they are going to engage in a blood donation exercise still today at midday at the same school.
The International Civil Aviation Authority is celebrating your 75th anniversary. In Uganda, what activities are going to be carried out, and are these some of the activities that are already being carried out to celebrate the International Civil Aviation Organization?
Yes, this celebration of the Controllers Day is indeed one of the activities that we have lined up to celebrate ICAO's 75 years of connecting the world, because air traffic controllers are so key in executing the mandate of ICAO, which is connecting the world. This is one of them. But besides this, we have lined up several other activities, and among them, we have an aviation run scheduled for Sunday, 10th November 2019. It will commence at the Mayor's Gardens at 6:30 a.m. We have invited stakeholders in the aviation industry, as well as all other well-wishers, especially companies operating in Entebbe, but we welcome all other well-wishers to join us in this aviation run to commemorate ICAO's 75th anniversary. The run is double-edged in that the proceeds from the run are going towards a charitable cause of equipping the medical facility at Entebbe Regional Referral Hospital. We want to get the proceeds to that hospital towards their intensive care unit. We are selling kits for participation in the run at a modest 25,000 per person, and the proceeds from selling that kit for the aviation run are going towards the Entebbe Referral Hospital. Reason being that Entebbe Referral Hospital is closest to Entebbe International Airport. In the event of any incident or accident at Entebbe International Airport, the first point of call in terms of medical services is that hospital. So it's important that when we are celebrating aviation, we think of the stakeholders who are there for us in bad times. So the aviation run is the other. The other activity is a campaign that we are going to conduct on NBS TV. It's an aviation quiz, as well as giving out aviation tips to members of the public, especially the flyers through the Entebbe Airport. The quiz questions will be answered on our social media pages, and the winners of the quiz questions will be entered into a draw where we have offered tickets, domestic flights to Kasese, Kisoro, and Kihihi. Those draws will be made every week on NBS TV Live. And the last activity to celebrate the ICAO's 75 years, we'll be hoisting of the ICAO flag at the source of the Nile on Saturday 9th November 2019.
Absolutely. Predominantly, there is myopic belief that this kind of occupation, the air traffic controller's occupation, is mostly for males. How many female air traffic controllers do we have in Uganda?
We employ 10 female air traffic controllers, but we have a total of slightly over 100 air traffic controllers at Entebbe International Airport. World over, the ratio of females to men in air traffic control is very low. Uganda, we're actually doing fairly well, and we have actually empowered our female air traffic controllers. You may recall this year on Women's Day, we actually chose that the air traffic control was manned fully by ladies. The morning shift from morning up to lunchtime was manned by ladies, and that was very highly appreciated across the globe, because pictures of them in action were flashed all over the internet, and it was a very good thing. It shows that we have empowered them. They are also in our leadership. We have several of them at principal officer level.
Yeah, well,
maybe Paul can add on that.
Definitely, I'll switch it to Paul. You allow me to go back to Paul. Paul, as the air traffic controller, what is the medium of communication?
The medium of communication between air traffic control and pilots is an HF radio. That's a high frequency radio. So basically, it's a key in radio. You transmit through our transmitters and receivers to pilots. It's a two-way communication between pilots and controllers, just through radio.
What's the typical day of celebrating, and what essence is it to you as the air traffic controller to celebrate this day?
This day, as an air traffic management officer, actually we are transiting from air traffic control to air traffic management. Air traffic control used to be when we have 10 aircraft on a day flying through our airspace. The typical day today of an air traffic controller handles over 100 aircraft in a space of 4 hours. So we are transiting from air traffic control to air traffic management. Even airspace is changing from the airspace control to airspace management because of the number of fleet that we have increasing in the country. A typical day of an air traffic management officer is a very stressful and busy day. I would say an air traffic management officer starts work before he wakes up. Because you have to have a sharp brain. We are required to have 8 hours of soberness before you hit duty.
Is there a test?
There is, but mainly, probably he hasn't talked about what we call the safety culture. This profession is one of the only professions where a person can call in and say, I have a headache, and it will not be questioned. So in the interest of thousands of lives in the air and thousands of dollars, millions and thousands of dollars in the air, if I feel a headache and I cannot calculate, then I'll say, I'm sick. That's a typical day of an air traffic controller.
Are there further restrictions or tests that are done health-wise? Probably, are you allowed to drink alcohol, smoke, things like that?
It would be inadvisable for an air traffic controller to be on duty under the influence of such things. However, we have routine medical checkups. Routine medical checkups. Every after 1 year, you'll find an air traffic controller undergoing comprehensive medical examinations. They test your liver, they test your heart, they test everything to make sure that you're not under any influence to do anything as you're working. Mainly, an air traffic controller juggles things at a fast rate. I'll give you an example. You drive a car, right? You drive a car at 120 kilometers an hour and you're not allowed to blink. An average aircraft flies between 800 to 900 kilometers per hour. 800 to 900 kilometers per hour. So such a machine is too fast for you to even start thinking of other things. So an air traffic controller is the only individual that goes to work and has a blank page, nothing in it.
I thought they were automated.
Yes, they are automated, but you will not eliminate the component of a human in everything you do. You can automate all you want, but the human being is there to say, yes, this is right. And by the time a human being says, this is right, he has done a number of processes.
Absolutely. There's an element of artificial intelligence. What role has it played?
Exactly. The IQ of an air traffic controller is expected to be the highest we have. Since I've just told you an aircraft runs at 900 kilometers an hour, just imagine if two are coming close. That means we have 1,800 kilometers per hour of machines coming close. So if your IQ is not too fast to determine that at this point I have a conflict, you cannot make an air traffic controller. So before an air traffic controller thinks way ahead of the machine that is running, he has to determine that at this point I'll have someone crashing. Let me do this. He has to do it prior to the time it reaches where. That is what an air traffic controller does.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking us through. Maybe you'd also give us, what's your best moment? What are some of your best moments that you've experienced as an air traffic controller?
In my days as an air traffic controller, those days, my best moments would be handing over watch without an incident. Every other day, someone comes and says, hey, Paul, it's your day off. And I have no incident. That's a very good day for an air traffic controller. The day an air traffic controller goes home with an incident, that's the day you'll find that someone can lose 20 kilograms in an hour.
Oh, good.
Yeah, true. That's how it happens up there.
I'll come back to you, Vianney. How's the day going to be celebrated? We know that Uganda is celebrating, you're celebrating your day today, the 18th, and the international celebrations are on the 20th.
Exactly.
Yeah, take us through how the day is going to be celebrated.
The celebrations have already commenced. There is that procession that is about to reach Old Kampala SS. We have a number of speeches that will take place from stakeholders in the industry. The activities at Old Kampala Senior Secondary School, where we have that career guidance session. The blood donation will start at midday, and after lunch there will be a football game between the air traffic controllers and
the school staff.
Yes, and the staff of the school of Old Kampala Senior Secondary School. And then they will mark the end of the day with a cocktail to celebrate the activities. We have previously celebrated this day in other ways. We, in previous celebrations, have donated equipment to boda bodas in Entebbe. Those were life jackets, reflector jackets. We have also had the air traffic controllers celebrate this day by donating fishing nets to fishermen on the lake in Entebbe. And this is because the fishermen work closely with us. They are our neighbors in the community. And in the event of anything you have had in the past where we have had a crash in the lake, fishermen usually are the first people to see the aircraft that has fallen in the lake, and they come to the rescue. So the air traffic controllers deemed it prudent to hand fishing nets to them in past celebrations, but also in another celebration, when we were celebrating 50 years of air traffic control, we hosted the International Federation of Air Traffic Controllers gathering here in Kampala.
Yes, there's an award that was won on September 24th when you were from the International Civil Aviation Organization.
Yes.
Which award was this, and what does it mean to you?
The award we received at the ICAO Assembly in September 2014 was the ICAO Council President's Award in recognition of Uganda's efforts in resolving aviation security deficiencies. This arose out of an international audit that ICAO, the Global International Civil Aviation Organization body, conducted on Uganda in 2017. It was called the Universal Security Audit Program, Continuous Monitoring Approach. And Uganda scored 81.8%, which was well above the global average of 73% and far above the African and Indian Ocean states average of 58%. Now that was a commendable performance in the area of aviation security. So in recognition of that effort, the global body deemed it prudent to award on Uganda a certificate in recognition of that effort. Now that certificate, while it is given to Uganda CAA, it is not only for Civil Aviation Authority, it is actually for the state. When we perform well in an international ICAO audit on aviation security or safety for that matter, it is actually the state, because when the ICAO auditors come to Uganda to audit the country, they not only audit the Civil Aviation Authority, but they audit the entire state security system.
Yes, okay. Is the Civil Aviation Day celebrated for the first time in Uganda, or it has always been celebrated?
Now, this is a special year because we celebrate Aviation Week every year, which is the week marking when ICAO was formed. But this particular year, ICAO, the global body, is celebrating 75 years.
Oh,
so
yes,
that is a special activity, and that is why ICAO urged states across the globe to hold various
I rather meant the
International Controllers
International
Day.
Air Traffic Controllers
Now
Day.
the International Air Traffic Controllers Day is celebrated every year on 20th October.
Okay.
But Uganda first celebrated this day in 2010, much as the Ugatica association where he belongs in Uganda was formed in 1981. But the first celebrations that we participated in were in 2010. And since then, we have tried to celebrate this day every year.
Absolutely. Well, we can't have this conversation without mentioning Uganda Airlines and the introduction of our national flyer. What does this mean to you? Does this come with a lot of more on your shoulders to carry?
Certainly.
Let me start from you.
Yeah, it does come. It's joy. It's joy to have the national carrier kicking in such a year. I could say it would be hard for us to celebrate this day without mentioning the national carrier coming in. In the life of an air traffic controller, it is hard for you to keep talking to foreigners without talking to one of your own. So every day that aircraft flies in and calls itself crested, an air traffic controller is happy to talk to it. It's a big job upon us to make sure that the airline strives and the airline survives the current competitive world. And as air traffic controllers nationwide, our role is to make sure the airline is safe, the airline survives, and the airline thrives. That is our job. So for as much as we are in those chairs and doing the job we do, the airline has to fly. The airline has to be safe.
As an air traffic controller,
Yep.
doesn't this increase on what you have to do normally, or you haven't registered any differences?
It does not increase on what we have to do. It's a typical day of an air traffic controller.
Absolutely.
The only thing is the joy of having to talk to crested.
Joy that comes
The joy that comes
I
with
think
it.
so Vianney, your take on that?
Yes, indeed, I agree with him. But beyond that, for all Ugandans, really, it's having a national carrier benefits the whole country. We expect it to increase, to help us increase passenger traffic in and out of Entebbe International Airport. In 1991, when CAA had just been established, we handled 118,000 passengers. In 2018, last year, we handled 1.84 million passengers. So passenger traffic is increasing, even without an airline. Now, when you have a national airline, it actually increases passenger traffic in and out of your country. Not only that, coming in and out, but also transit traffic. The passengers that come in to connect to other onward destinations. We have been having decimal numbers in that area, just about 100,000 plus last year. Now that we have a national carrier, we expect those numbers to grow significantly. And when transit passenger traffic grows, it means that the country is going to get more foreign exchange, because when these passengers come and spend time at Entebbe International Airport, buying things from the duty-free shops in dollars and pounds, they are actually spending that money in Uganda, and it benefits the economy.
I'll give you the chance to give your last remarks as we close the show.
I would like to congratulate our air traffic controllers on this very important day, and urge the public to applaud them for the important work they do in enhancing safety in Uganda's airspace. But I also lastly appeal to passengers, especially those traveling through Entebbe International Airport, that if you have a flight through the airport, please ensure that you are there at least 3 hours before your flight, because many people have lately missed their flights owing to being at the airport late. And I thank NBS TV for giving us an opportunity to talk about the International Air Traffic Controllers Day.
Paul, any last remarks as we close?
Yeah, I will have my last remarks now. To the air traffic controllers, I urge you guys to continue doing what you do. Keep improving day in, day out, and keep giving full satisfaction to the general public. And to the general public out there, I will only assure you that with the current breed of air traffic controllers we have with the Civil Aviation Authority in Uganda, your lives are in very good hands.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong that can go on with those superb men and women doing their job.
Sure.
100% sure. And let them enjoy their day. It's a good day. Enjoy with the public as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Paul and Vianney, for talking to the viewers of NBS. My name is Elijah Triagmanawin. Thanks for watching NBS Always. The breakfast meeting ends here. Until next time.